Today's episode is brought to you by Sudafed. Nope. Happy end of 2022, everybody. The purpose of this channel is to both chronicle my own adventure as I change careers while also providing some encouragement to others who are either actively doing the same thing or even just thinking about it. Because it ain't easy. It ain't. For a lot of you, your career is something that you got into as a labor of love. For others, you might be stuck in the sunk cost fallacy, the idea that you have spent so much time and money getting to where you are now. Why would you change? Only you can answer that. For me, it was seeing the writing on the wall as far as the profession of community pharmacy goes. The last straw for me was a credible threat of violence against me. I decided I needed to make a change. So I've used that last year making that change. What can you do in a year? A whole lot, actually. Let's run through this. All right, so starting off in January, A+. I took both of those exams early in the month, and I brought those to my wife as proof that I could make this career change. And once I got the green light from her, I initially reached out to WGU to get that whole process started, and I promise I will talk about WGU in depth in another video. In February, I was able to get the Apple Certified Support Professional, so there's that. I don't recommend it. It's expensive. It's hard to get set up. Apple does everything they can to basically hide the certification, and nobody's asking for it. Nobody cares about it. Move on. In March, I was able to complete the ITIL certifications and Project Plus as part of the WGU curriculum. I also participated in the pilot program for what ISC Squared was calling their entry-level cybersecurity certification at the time. The training was free and the exam was free, and so I figured, why not? If you are even remotely interested in exploring a new career, I cannot recommend this certification highly enough. ISC Squared is pushing to get 1 million people certified with this really basic entry-level cert. And the idea is, if you do this, you've invested minimal time, no money, and if you hate it, then forget it. But if it's something that you like, then hang that shingle, post that cert on your LinkedIn to let people know you're interested in changing careers. And then you can start taking the time to really prepare for something more in the mainstream like Security Plus. Then in April, I was able to pass Network Plus, and in May, I passed Security Plus and Microsoft's Azure Fundamentals course. And what's important to note here is at this point, having A+, Network Plus, and Security Plus, I had completed what most people would call the CompTIA trifecta. And so it was at this point that, truthfully, I felt like I was hireable. And I would have started looking for jobs at that point, except that I was still really heavy into WGU's curriculum and wanted to make sure I could keep my career steady while I was getting the rest of that kind of finished up. Then in June, I was able to finish EC Council's Certified Encryption Specialist. I know, right? July was a busy month for me. That month started out with finishing up the System Security Certified Practitioner, SSCP, from ISC Squared, which is part of the WGU curriculum. Then I took the Cybersecurity Analyst Plus, or CYSA Plus, through CompTIA, also part of WGU's curriculum. And then I decided that those tests had prepared me well enough that I started looking into the CISSP exam, and sure enough, I was able to take and pass CISSP in the same month. And then to finish things off, actually the same day that I passed that exam, I flew out to New York to do the HOPE conference, which I recommend for anybody. It's a conference by the people who make 2600, the Hacker Quarterly, and it's a conference that'll happen every other year. So my plan is to go there and then go to DEF CON during the off years. July was so busy that August ended up being actually kind of a bye month. The main thing I did that month was attend the InfoSec Campout, which is a gathering outside of Seattle at a campground. This was Nerd Camp, and I loved it. And we had a lot of great campfire chats, which is where I got to sit there and really just talk to people and find out more about their positions and try to figure out more what would be a best fit for me. What part of the industry would I really like? Then in September, I was able to take and pass the CCSP with a voucher that I got through WGU. So that's the cloud certification through ISC Squared. And then in October, two big things happened. One is I got to go to ISC Squared's Security Congress, which this year was held in Vegas, which was a blast. And two, I started my new job. I left being a pharmacist and started working as an information security engineer. You got to let that sink in. So far, it's just been a lot of different certs ramping up, but It's all about the knowledge. It's all about the networking. And it paid off. Less than a year, I had a new job in a new industry. And then in November, the most recent thing I did was I did pass Pen Test Plus through CompTIA, again, through WGU's curriculum. My plan is for next year to follow up. Pen Test Plus is a great exam as far as just multiple choice assessment of knowledge, but I still would really rather do something like EJPT or PNPT. And by either or, I mean I'm going to try to take both of those in the first quarter next year. So here's the point. Am I saying that you need all of these certifications if you're trying to change careers? Absolutely not. In fact, I'm even a little bit embarrassed that I have them. The only reason I do have them is because most of them are baked into the WGU curriculum. But you don't need these to get started. What I am saying is a lot can happen in a year. It feels like it's a huge amount of time, but at the same time, it's also hardly any time at all. If you aren't happy with where you're ending 2022, then make those strides to do something different across the span of 2023. And come December 31st of next year, you might be really surprised with where you've landed. So hey, I just wanted to say I wish everyone out there a happy and prosperous new year. I hope the coming year brings nothing but better health and better things and all the right kind of changes for you. And I'll see you in the new year.